Astra is here with us as well. It's a beautiful Friday morning. So we're going to start in with the Egyptian god oracle. And today's card is khepri. Khepri is change. God of the sun's daily rebirth and cyclical renewal, represented by a scarab, khepri is black and darkness. And beginnings of all things, he symbolizes the transformation of humans in their stages: life, death, rebirth. The victory of light over darkness, life over death, and becoming, the generative power symbol of rebirth. His appearance might announce the end of a cycle, a breakdown, disappointments, or wrecking affections. But everything is constantly changing, like day and night. Khepri encourages you to get up every day with the light of faith and hope, because after the night, a new day always dawns. Khepri, good one. Sacred self-care is a dream journal. The mantra is, I remember my dreams, control my dreams, and use my dreams as a playground for my growth. Dream journaling can be a powerful practice. Once you establish a flow, there are many insights to gather from your astral adventures. Commit to interacting with your dreams in a new way and look for the wisdom and guidance as they hold you. Journal prompt: recall a recent powerful dream and write it out as if it was a story. What lessons can you learn from this dream? I have a lot to say about that, so we'll come back to it. Animal Spirit Guidebook. The vulture. Guardian and purifier, essential for rebalance. The vulture is perhaps the most misunderstood creature of all. This intriguing bird balances our ecosystem and prevents the spread of disease. It does the dirty work that no one else wants to do and cleans up our messes. The vulture appears when there's a situation that needs to be purified or brought back to balance. Remember, the vulture is greatly undervalued. What you thought was a mistake or tragedy is a blessing in disguise. When in balance, it clarifies, reveals wisdom. When out of balance, dramatic, aggressive. To bring into balance, clean your space, sage. I'm going to talk about vulture some more too. And Mystic Shaman Oracle, we have 37, the moon. Isn't that a beautiful card? Every 28 days, the moon manifests a steady progression from darkness to light and back again. This phenomenon is in our skies as a powerful impact on our physical human psyches. It offers us the certainty that after periods of emptiness and darkness, there is light waiting so that we can be reborn into a new phase. This calls to mind a native African prayer to the moon: may our lives be renewed as yours is. The moon also has a strong influence on the ebb and flow of the waters of the earth. The same power in turn affects human feelings, emotions, and mirrors their rising from the hiding back into consciousness. The invitation of the moon card is to spend equal time in dark as it does in light of the sun. How does it come to remind you of this balance? Have you been too focused on other achievements, productivity, social engagements, or have you spent too much time hidden from the outer world, not wanting to interact or show your face? Meditate on the significance of the moon's cycle and let it gently guide you out of your bottomless depths. Head back to the world of outer expression and connection with others. Let it help you make time for yourself, your feelings, and your essential human spiritual needs. The medicine of this card is calling on you to go on a journey to reveal, just like the moon does every month, so that you can get unstuck, whether from specific situations or life in general. For this, you need to make time to be with yourself without distraction of modern society. Have the courage to look at the unwanted or unembraced parts of your being until you arrive at a place of resolution. Shamanic lore explains that the finest treasures of humanity are hidden where people are most afraid to go. I love that. Okay, so what do these cards mean? What are we talking about today, Red? Well, couple things. I want to go back to khepri. Khepri is shown as the scarab and is as black as darkness. Life, death, rebirth. and the victory of light over darkness, of life over death. Regenerative, generative power symbol of rebirth. Okay, and then dreams. Dream journaling. Okay. Okay, so when I put all these things together, there's something that bubbles up. And one of the things that bubbles up with these is I've actually, in the last couple weeks, actually, I've had some pretty wicked, vivid dreams. My husband's been having vivid dreams. I've been told now by several people that their dreams are really vivid. There's a couple things going on with dreaming. So from a neuroscience perspective, right? Dreaming is that processing that's happening from your subconscious. Your brain is working through problems. It's coming up with solutions. It's tucking away memories. It's putting things away. It's very much like at the end of the day, you have a library cart full of books, and in your sleep state, your subconscious, your higher self, in integration with your physical body, from a neuroscience perspective, you're putting all of the books of your day back on the shelf. You're tucking things away. You're figuring out what you need to remember, what you need to keep. All of the emotions and traumas and interactions that you've had, you're storing some of that away or throwing it away. Like, I don't need that. I don't need to remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday. So it gets tossed. And from a spiritual perspective, you as an entity having an interface with the physical body, dreaming can be that, and for some people, it's one of their gifts. They could be traveling in their dreams. They could be doing healing in their dreams. They could be getting messages from their higher self. They could be in school. Dreaming for some people is a school process. It's a learning process. From their guides and their blueprint to help them process things. I've had some amazing teacher learning experiences from some of my guides, like, hey, it's time for you to know this new information. So we're going to give you 3 nights of extreme vivid, like classroom learning experience. And then it takes me weeks afterwards where those lessons bubble up in real life. You could be a dream walker. You could be walking in and visiting other people in their dreams. You could be not sleeping enough too. Dream journaling, there's a couple things that are happening. If you don't have enough oxygen, sleep apnea, they're telling us, which totally makes sense. If you aren't getting enough oxygen, it's really hard for you to get into a good sleep state, and your brain has a very hard time processing new information if you're constantly fatigued. Your body temperature lowers so that you can get good sleep. Your body produces chemicals at night that keep you going the next day. So there's a real need for sleep. I, just like a lot of people over time, have groused a little bit about, there's got to be a way that we could cram more in our day if we just didn't have to sleep so much, right? But I have learned that there's an amazing book called The Power of Sleep. It's about that thick. It's a huge book, but it's a wonderful audiobook. It'll put you to sleep, ironically. And I've learned a lot about how sleep works, neuroscience and chemically in the body. And what I have found is that the power of my teacher-student dreams have been more impactful as I have embraced good sleep hygiene. And good sleep hygiene is something I share with everybody. I've never had a lot of problems going to sleep. I mean, every once in a while I run through a little bit of insomnia, but it's not a regular thing. And I've had the privilege to work with people who genuinely actually struggle with deep insomnia and helping people find how to find sleep in a healthy way. But dreams, because of what they do, that vivid dreaming and that processing and putting all the books back on the shelf, sometimes the messaging that you've been seeking in your waking life actually come through your dreams. And it's very rarely a straight line message. Most of my message dreams are a little bit sideways, and sometimes there's deep symbolism that I have to untangle. Like my brain has absorbed so much information, it's giving me the message back, but I have to take apart all the pieces to get to it. And sometimes it's just straightforward. And when we're looking at the other cards, vulture, cleaning up the messes energetically and physically, and they are the cleaners of our world. They keep it around. They stay around to clean up our mess. And energetically, this animal is saying something quite important, that the cycles of what we think of as life and death, dark and light, the cycles of the moon, the cycles in our life, dreams are very important in that. Every day is a new day. And I've said that for years, and I know there are some people who take that as, well, that's kind of a trite, negative thing to say, or that's a really good outlook on things. It kind of depends on who hears it as to how it lands. When I say every day is a new day, it's a reminder to me that it's a new cycle. When I go to sleep at night, and if you have good sleep hygiene, this becomes even more profound, that sleep state is not just resting the body, but it's also resting the mind, sorting all the library books. And my process of waking up in the morning, at least 5 days a week, my weekends are kind of a hit and miss. When I get up in the morning, I really give my body and my brain time to kind of wake up and come back into cohesion together. And I do that through stretches. I do that through drinking my water in the morning. I do that through brushing my teeth in the morning. All of the things that I do have meaning, have value. And then it depends on the day. Sometimes I write in my journal first. Sometimes I do my stretches first. I make my tea. It kind of depends. I move things around a little bit. I have ADHD, so nothing is a habit. Everything is a task. So I do it in different orders. But there is this cyclical nature that the morning begins the new cycle, or going to bed at night is the new cycle. Depends on how you want to look at it, but it's always going to be this circle. And this circle is to every day is a new day of bringing light in, no matter how gray and cloudy it is in the morning, if it's raining or it's dark in the winter time, it's still morning. It's an opportunity to have a new day. And my writing in the morning is often journaling, right? I'm journaling about my dreams. I'm trying to untangle them. And then I get about my day and I go about this whole day process. And then at night I've gotten kind of off my evening ritual thing, but in the evenings I have these tasks that I like to do that create this good sleep habit. And you go around and around and around. The moon tells us we're going around and around and around. Light and darkness, light and dark, light and dark, light and dark. Khepri is telling us light and dark, light and dark, light and dark. And the vulture is death and life, death and life, death and life, death and life, or life and death and life and death and life and death. Everything is a cycle. And one of the big things that I talk about a lot, and if y'all have listened to the podcast I've done with Safriano, we've talked about this. We've talked about this cycle of dark and light, shadow and light. I talk about shadow and light all the time. And one of the reasons I am probably sounding like a broken record is that it's just part of how we live. I can even relate it to somebody who's not very spiritual. It's having a paycheck, not having a paycheck. It's having a house, not having a house. It's having kids and not having kids. These are all things that have cycles. Everything in your life has a shadow and light cycle. And it's not being negative. There's something about this toxic positivity with spirituality and thinking positive and being mindful. There's some toxicness in it. There's this shame, this fear, this disappointment that if you're not positive all the time, if you're not always in a good mood, if you're not always moving forward, if you're not always, there's something wrong with you. Like you're being too negative, or you're not being appreciative of what you have. The human condition is full of emotion. in the medicine wheel, where did my medicine wheel go? I took it apart so I could put it back together because I'm making a new one. I think I took it upstairs. The medicine wheel is body, mind, spirit, emotion. And in the metaphysical, spiritual, hippie world, since forever, it's been body, mind, spirit. But we're missing a big piece. That's that emotion piece. And when we deny our emotions, when we don't deal with how they sit in the body and we don't deal with our trauma, when we don't do the emotion body piece, the mind takes over. And the mind will rationalize, the mind will create cartwheels to make it come out right. There's a client I have, and if she watches this, she'll giggle a little bit, but she's amazing. She's a natural number 6, and I've worked with her for years, and then we found out what her natural number was, and she's been an amazing client as I have learned more about the natural number process and using it really to help my clients in a new way. Doesn't mean I've abandoned all the other techniques I use. It's just another added piece. It adds a piece to the puzzle. And something that I learned from her, and I remind her of it often because apparently natural number 6s need this reminder until they learn to like remind themselves. And that's okay because we all have those hiccups. A natural number 6, when they've made a decision, right? Like they're gonna do the thing. They have all the pieces and they're gonna go in this direction. If that fear cycle, if that shadow of natural number 6 kicks in, they will spend an inordinate amount of time talking themselves out of that decision because of the fear that's living from their natural activation. There's a shadow and light to everything. And it's amazing to watch the hoops that we as human beings, doesn't matter what your natural number is, we as human beings in a human existence, we will rationalize and we will talk ourselves out of or into things with the mind and completely disengage, not pay attention, and not honor who we are as entities in our physical manifestation through that beautiful natural number, through those beautiful gifts we have of energy sensitivity and empathy and earth sense. We will spend so much effort, energy, and time talking ourselves out of what that spiritual self is saying the direction is to go. All the pieces were together. Go, move forward. That's normal. It's absolutely normal. There is no shame in doing that. We have all done it. I have totally done that. I would be a complete hypocritical fool if I pretended I always make great decisions and I never talk myself out of it. Oh, hell no. I do it all the time. And it's inordinately tricky sometimes in the human existence to not get caught in that pattern. And the cards are reminding us that our messes are sometimes self-created. And it's really unfair to say we have to pawn this off on somebody else to help us. Now, the other side of it is you have a beautiful spiritual blueprint team. They're always with you. You are never alone. And they will do anything and everything in conjunction with the universe to keep you on your path. So if you're headed off in a wrong direction, the universe will bring you people. The universe will put people in your way, other human beings in meat suits, to show you, to demonstrate to you, to put it in your face, hey, you need to get moving with the cycles around you. Stop being stuck. Stop being messy in an unhelpful way. But you have to connect to the whole wheel. Body, emotion, and body are integrally connected. Body and mind are connected, yes, but you also have emotion and spirit. And emotion and that emotion, instead of looking at body, mind, spirit, and mind at the top and body and spirit side by side, bracketing, think of it, I challenge you really truly to think of it a little differently. Think of the emotion and body next to emotion and spirit next to emotion and feel it. Feel all the emotions. the sadness, the anger, the resentment, the terror, the disappointment, the shame. Feel it. Let yourself feel it. That doesn't mean wallow and become depressed. Feel the rhythm in your body. Where is it being held in your body? How do you flow out of it? How do you connect into spirit, into nature? How do you charge your food, charge your water? How do you honor your connection to spirit through being mindful without engaging the overactive squirrels on crack cocaine in your head mindness? How do you get there without being too much in the mind? I say it all the time, like you can overmind something. You can overthink it. If you're overthinking it, you're probably going in the wrong direction because you have to connect into the emotion part. Not everything is a mind leading the charge. Our Western culture encourages us, even in the metaphysical and the spiritual community in our culture goes, think about it, think about it, think about it, think about it. And I say it too, think about it, think about it, think about it. I kind of don't want you to think about it. I kind of want you to go about your cycle with emotion. Pick a day and just be emotional. Let your emotions lead you. Pick a day and let your body lead you. What does your body tell you to do? And if you have to think about it too much, you've gotten out of your body, right? Like be in the body. Go dance in the living room. Go listen to music and wiggle and see what your body tells you to do. And spirit, like where is that bliss? I talk about it all the time, that place of bliss. I go there every day. Every day I touch that place of bliss in my body, through my body, into my higher self. As though I am threading back through that eye of the needle into my blueprint and acknowledging me as an entity, whoever I am, this vast entity, just like you are. And I honor that entity and I go, thank you for bringing me here. Some of this really sucks, but thank you. Because there's lessons and there's joy and there's so much beauty here and so much love. And that is a blessing. And is it hard? Yes. Are there days I want to fall into a hole? Yes. Are there days where I don't want a human anymore? Yes. Are there days where the heaviness is too heavy? Yes. Are there days when the pain is too much? Yes. And these are all cycles. These are all cycles of life. Light and shadow, pain and no pain, joy and sadness, fear and love, shame and love, disappointment and love. When I say there's only two emotions in the universe, love and fear can be transmuted into love, so there's really only love, that's literally what I'm talking about. Even the human body in its natural state, in all of the natural numbers, every single human body has a shadow and light journey, and the light journey always leads you to love. The shadow has a lot of different things, but on the other side, there's always love. And part of what love is the encompassing of all of the emotions, the recognition that they all come back to the same place. And that duality, that place where people get caught is the idea that duality must mean good and bad or evil and good. Somebody goes out and kills somebody or somebody gives birth to somebody, as though that is the worst of that duality. I would challenge that in our world today, there's more than that duality. There is the duality that goes into ignoring your path, ignoring your journey, ignoring your leanings of lessons and being the good entity that you are, this amazing, vast, powerful entity out in the universe within the spiral. And passivity, not being involved, not being somebody who contributes to your world, creates space for people to do things that harm others. So this is what I challenge you to. As you're living your life, going through the cycles of the duality in every day, if you see an inequity, do something about it. Because right now, and I'm going to make a big statement, right now, the things that are happening in the world, I hear from a lot of people. They're very upset about it and they feel very helpless and hopeless and like they can't affect any kind of change. It's out of their hands. Big pharma, big business, people with a lot of money, all these billionaires, well, these small amount of billionaires running around taking money from everybody, or these big countries having war with each other. We can't do anything about that. That's actually not a true statement. We can, and we should, and we need to be. Say something. Do something. Write a letter. Make phone calls. It doesn't have to be every day, and you yourself might not be heard. But the more people that do those things, those small things, become a tide of water that changes things. And change is important, especially when it comes to the moon, right? The cycles of the moon. If you think about the tides in the sea, one drop of water might not look like it's affected by the moon. But you take lots of drops of water and you put them in the ocean, and you have an ocean of water. That body of water becomes the tides that go in and out. And you've been to the beach or you've watched beach movies and you know that that's a thing. So be involved. And this year is primary season. Be very careful when you look at your electoral thing, especially if you're in Montana. Don't fill out who you like from all the different ballots. You can only pick one ballot in the primary. Just make sure you know that. 2, go find your local league of voting women or women voters. They do accept men's memberships. Go be involved. They are a constitutional protectorate nonprofit. So they are here literally to protect your Constitution. They are nonpartisan. Go find a group of people that want to support change in government and in our world and support them. Be involved. Go sit at a meeting and bring potluck, right? Like, you don't have to volunteer to be on a committee. You don't have to volunteer to do big things. Pick what you want to do and how you can contribute and be involved. Be part of your community. Right now, it's really overwhelming, and there's a lot of people that just feel very heavy and overwhelmed by it, and they get sucked into things to do everything, and it burns them out, and then they don't want to do anything. Do one thing. Pick one thing. You can't do it all, but your one thing, you encourage your husband, your kids, you encourage your friends to do their one thing. When everybody's doing one thing, you can change the world together as a community, as a collective of people that want to journey through the shadow and light of our world in a safe way, without shame, without fear, without disappointment. Those things are going to happen anyway, but without it becoming war, genocide, oppression, inequality, racism, classism, sexism, pickenism. We can be involved. And it probably sounds like I'm pitching, but I really mean from the perspective of who you are as an entity living this life. You can only grow so much as a spiritual entity in isolation. And if you're toxically positive about everything, you're not going to be able to effect change without being real in your world. The most spiritual person in the world, this is my humble opinion, the most spiritual person in the world, when they're disconnected and disenfranchised from the real world and the events that are happening, isn't actually affecting change and isn't actually helping people in a real way. You have to be involved or you're not helping. I am a prolific writer of letters to senators and congressmen, and I have been for years. Does it affect change? I don't know. Am I going to stop writing letters? Absolutely not. I mean, occasionally I get a letter saying, please stop sending us letters, but I'm going to send them anyway. Because that's my right as a citizen to be involved. And this is your right too. And what does this mean in your everyday life? The shadow and light journey is part of our life. And Khepri says, shadow and light. Things are changing constantly. You don't have to be afraid of it. Vulture, don't let other people pick up your spiritual messes. Own that shit. Moon, there's tides of the moon. And these tides are not scary. It's just light and dark journeys. And dream journal, your dreams, your sleep hygiene help you process all of the big things throughout the day. Give yourself a good hygiene, nighttime ritual, and you can do more. You can do so much more in your life when you're sleeping properly. And sleep is not wasting your time. Sleep is not a bad thing. Sleep is a beautiful, necessary thing for the human body and the higher spiritual self and your consciousness to process all the things that you need to be able to do things in your life. I hope you all have a beautiful weekend, have a beautiful day, and I will see you in prayer. Oh, full moon was yesterday, and it was amazing. Have a beautiful day. Blessed be, and I'll see you in prayer.